Welcome to the Breakthrough Podcast with your host, Reba Hobbs, a podcast motivated to help survivors of trauma to heal and focus on their full potential.
Welcome to another episode of the Breakthrough Podcast. I am your host, Reba. Thank you for joining me today, listening. I want to thank you to my listeners and subscribers of last week. You guys blew me out the water with the listenership. So I thank you. If you are listening to this on Apple, Spotify, please rate it, review it, leave a comment if you can. But if you're on YouTube, because we're trying to get the YouTube page built up more, please leave me a comment, rate the show. 5-star rated, whatever you have to do to rate it so we can get we need more advertisement to get our viewership up. That's what I'm working on this year. More advertisement and placement for my podcast. So I'm excited about that. Also, this new year, I am going to be sharing some things I wanted to share with you about my vision board and things I have for. Well, last week, me and my kids, we did vision boards together. So things that I have for my vision, I think I told you guys that I incorporated and started having my son do vision boards around the age of 7. Only because he has to have a vision and a goal for his life. And you have to start young. Being that we all can't just live this life and just think willy-nilly. So he has to have a goal because he's in school. And now my son is in high school. Things are going to come strong, fast, and hard. And so we know that you have to have goals. You have to have vision. If you just go willy-nilly with your life, we just don't know what happened. Also, we have to have a plan and a destiny. So that's the point of what I'm saying. Also this year, I am doing and incorporating a lot more guests. So if you are listening and if you are on this platform and I reached out to you or I have reached out, going to reach out to you, please know that it's special for me to reach out to you because God put you on my heart to speak on this platform. We will be doing more videos. So while we try to get the YouTube page up, we're doing more video over there. So guys, if you're listening on Anchor or Spotify, go over there. Eventually, I'll announce when we start doing video because I'm having more guests. I did not get the last episode out on Thursday last week because life happens. But I'll try this week. I think I'm going to do more of recording because my assistant, she controls everything over here. She does such a great job. So she controls everything over here. I think I'm going to go on YouTube and you give me ideas. Guys can give me ideas. But I think I'm going to go on YouTube and do my 15-minute clippings of the podcast, meaning on Thursdays. It won't be a full show. But my idea is I am giving you bits and pieces of nuggets of what content that I have throughout the week. And content that say something was downloaded in my spirit by Thursday, because God always do that to me. By Thursday, I have so much content I have written down and I've poured into once a week is just not enough. And I'm realizing that I have a lot of content to give out. I have a lot of advice to give out. I have a lot of things happen during my weeks and my days that before the next Monday come, I'm like, oh, it's a lot. I write it down, but at the same time, I want to initiate and push myself more, but not just that, to give what I know that could be helpful for someone else. So this year, I am focusing on, don't forget, the word of the year is manifestation and blessings. But this year, we are focusing on health and mindset mostly. So each podcast is different, but at the same time, they're all surrounded about health, wellness, mindset, because that's what we have to get under control in order to start. I thank you guys for listening to last week's podcast of the Strong Minds again, because strongholds of the mindset was a big podcast for me to do for the first of the year that God downloaded in my spirit. And it was a lot of my podcasts got downloaded in my spirit. I hold back. And I don't do at that time. It's certain things at certain times. And like I told you guys before, he'll download something, make a long story short, and he'll change the whole podcast while I'm about to do it. So, Strongholds of the Mind was a big one for me. And the outcome was just amazing. And we not do another one. I was thinking of doing a part 2, but I don't know. Not yet. I'll let you guys know. You will know when you listen. Also, being that this is manifestation and blessings year, and we're walking into what we want and what our calling is and our purpose is, and that's the whole purpose of this. I am starting my fast. I remember last year when I started the podcast, I took you on the fast journey with me, so I will be taking you on the fast journey with me this year. I've started my fast today. So we are going on this 21-day fast. And I'll tell you guys, I'm fasting coffee. Anybody that knows me, I love coffee. Coffee is my life. Coffee is my soul. But at the same time, Jesus is who my life is. So I'm fasting coffee. I'm actually doing a couple of other things personally. But coffee is the number one thing I'm doing. I'm fasting because I love it so much and I'm addicted to it. But I love Jesus more. And during this time in this fast, I fast every year. And I want to talk about that too when we talk about fasting, detoxing. I'm going to give a whole throughout the year of what each and everything means every year. All through this year. So, I'm fasting for 21 days for the Lord. Spiritual fast. I'm going to say that. And then I'm going to take you on this journey with me. So, let's get into the podcast. Today's podcast is all about health, inside and out. Why are you not caring about your health? This last week and weekend, of course, we know during the beginning of the year, everybody is on this health kick. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change that. I'm going to do more with my health. I'm going to go to the gym. But by March, April, we usually slide off, usually stop, be like, okay, I did it for that time being, and we usually backtrack and we go back. I know I've done it in the past, so that's why I say we. I'm not perfect. Once I realized that being health conscious, mind conscious, physically and mentally, let's not forget the mental, because a lot of times we forget mental goes with the physical. It starts from the inside out. Once I realized it was a lifestyle, the way I eat, what I put in my body, it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not something you do temporary like a fast. And to say that I fast, or no, I detox, because it's a difference. I detox once a month anyway. For a whole week, I detox my body, because you are supposed to detox everything that you have from the month before. You got supposed to detox your liver, your colon. Guys, look it up. Do your research on what kind of detox you can get. There are so many natural things out here that can help us detox. So, back to what I was saying. It's a lifestyle change. When you make the dedication and determination to change your life, and to not, a lot of times, I was saying to a friend last week, a lot of times we want to rush the process of being in the hospital, and we want to rush the process of our body's healing once we get that way. But, like I said, your body didn't end up that way overnight. So now you're trying to counteract what has happened negatively to your body. You have to take the time to counteract it. meaning being patient, meaning having the right mindset, not wanting to be in that hospital bed, thinking about that hospital bed ahead of time, that this can lead me to the hospital. This could lead me to all the doctors and the prescribed pills that they give us all the time, and things that make things worse, then make them better before they get worse, before they get better. Being on something for the rest of your life that you could prevent. Everything, technically, can be reversible if we wanted to. And this is why I said I am digging deep this year on the mindset, because you have to really understand, if it's in your mind to do it, it becomes a lifestyle. I think I shared this before with you guys. My ritual, that's what it is. It's something that you're dedicated to doing every day. And you're not just doing it out of happenstance, or I know I should be doing this. But it could happen out of that. I start doing, a lot of people that know me, I've been eating healthy for quite a while. I stopped eating pork and beef 21 years ago. And my personal story is, I was probably a little less than 21, probably like 19 to 20, whatever. But close to 20. I was young and a young adult, and I started noticing that I was gaining an extra amount of weight. This before kids, way before kids, because my son is 15. And I'm just like, okay, I like the way it's coming on. Because if you know me, I've always been skinny all my life. And I'm talking about skinny, like a size 0 skinny. People that don't know me, that don't know past me, they didn't realize that. Because most of the majority of my life, I've been a thicker woman, put it like that. So I'm liking the way the pounds are coming on. I'm liking the hip size, the curvationness, whatever. Until one day, I'm realizing, hold on, I'm only 5'2". Okay, it's coming on, but it's coming on rapidly where I'm kind of looking dumpy now. I didn't technically have a stomach, but it was like me looking short, but too much weight. Then that's when I start going to the doctor. I've always went to the doctor because you guys know my story. And I would dig deep in another podcast about my life. It's in my book, my second book. But I'm going to dig deep for the people that don't have the second book on my health and how I counteracted it from birth. From birth, guys, to be where it's at now. I've always had hip issues since I was born. So just that small nugget. Back to my story. I was getting to a certain weight. And I think around that time, it was like I was 20, 21, and it was 151. And I was just like, okay, it's getting a little rough. Go to the doctor for my yearly, and the doctor told me I was obese. And let's do this whole little obese thing about your scale and obesity according to doctors. You are the weight you are, yes. But it is a certain weight. You're supposed to be at a certain height, your BMI and all that other stuff. Yes, that's what they go off of. But you have to do what's comfortable for you. Technically, at that time, that wasn't comfortable for me. I started realizing, because around that time, I was in the gym all the time. And I was going to the gym, but not all the time. I started going to the gym all the time, every day. Didn't have any kids. I've always worked 2 jobs. I've always was working. So I always was in the gym around that time. Start getting the weight off. But it wasn't coming off rapidly enough that I started realizing it was what I was eating. I literally, and with me, if you know my story, I can do anything cold turkey, and it just happens. When I make a determination in my mind to stop doing something, I just do it. Especially with my health. I'm like, I don't drill people about their health, but I do advise people about their health. But I am very health conscious about me. And I'm still not exactly where I want to be, because I'm now at this point in my life, I'm building muscle. I'm lean. So I'm building muscle now. So I like my body, but I am not exactly where I want to be. So it's still a work in progress. But I'm also being patient with myself. Okay. Back then, I made a determination. Cold turkey. I just stopped eating pork and beef. I did. I just did. I literally started seeing the weight drop off. Then I started learning about blood types and what kind of foods for your blood type and everything else. And then that made me do more research. I told you guys I like to educate myself and learn. So that made me start doing more research to what kind of blood type I am and what foods are good with your blood type and what's not. Ever since then, I've been on this little health kit. Slowly but surely, years later, up until now, I technically don't eat chicken anymore. And I say technically because I don't. I did that 2 years ago, cold turkey, stopped eating chicken. I just don't like the way pork and beef was about my health. But chicken was kind of like, I don't like the way it looks anymore. It's kind of hormone induced. It's so big. It wasn't tasting the same way. I just was like, I think it was 2020. I was just like, the next year I was like, I'm not eating it no more. It's been 2 years now. I went into 2021 not eating it. And it's been 2 years. So I said next year I'm not eating chicken no more. And 2021 came January and I was like, done. I don't eat chicken. My kids still eat it. Every so once in a while. I technically do fish and vegan foods. So I wouldn't call myself totally a pescatarian and I wouldn't call myself a total vegan because I do both. Okay? Vegan is usually mostly breakfast and dinner. Vegan is mostly breakfast and lunch, if I have lunch. And then dinner is mostly fish, but I'm actually getting away from the fish too because of the research I'm doing, and that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. And the only fish I actually eat is salmon. So I love salmon, and that's basically what I technically eat. I might eat shrimp every blue moon. I would eat other things every blue moon, but like catfish, love it. But salmon is my number one. Back to my point. I made a mindset change and I made a mindset determination that I wanted to change who I was from the inside and out years ago. And I've been on this health kick. Now, more and more as I educate myself, I told you guys I have a ritual every morning. Usually every morning I juice. I do that every other morning because between me doing smoothies and juicing, it's a lot of work. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and get on here and say that it's not work. It's a lot of work because you got to prep. You got to prepare yourself that whatever smoothie you're going to have. Sometimes in the mornings, I just throw anything in the smoothie blender or whatever, and I drink the smoothie. Juicing is a little more prep because you got to really think about the juicing that you're doing. I actually do a lot of Pinterest looking up and research about what juices are for health, what juices are for colds, what juices are for weight loss, what juices are for detoxing. I do a lot of juicing now because I've always wanted to incorporate juicing, and I think I've been doing juicing for the last 6 months now. It's not been that long. So, but I love it. I love it. I love the way it gives me energy. I love the way, what it does to my body. It's actually helping me detox more especially those once a week months, I detox. It helps me detox more. But this is all what I'm saying. I'm using my examples on, I made a determination that I want to do something for my health and myself. I want my kids to see me living until I'm 90, okay? If God let me live longer than that, praise Him. But up until 90, I want to live at least until I'm 90 so I can say I've lived a full life. If God takes me home before then, I am okay. But I promise you, I don't want it to be against something that I could have prevented. I could prevent heart disease. I could prevent diabetes. I could prevent high blood pressure. I could prevent... And all these things I'm naming, guys, are reversible. You have to do the natural things you have to do. It's going to be hard, but it's a determination in your mind that either you want to live or you want to wait until it's too late to try to think about living, when it's so harder to get the weight off. It's so harder to reverse the high blood pressure, the diabetes, or worse, cancer. It's so much harder to hear that word and to hear people have cancer. And certain things are not cancer. Certain cancers are preventable. It's the way we eat and what we put in our bodies, and some of them are not. But at the same time, if we're living with determination every day to get up to say, I love myself, I love my children, I love being with my children, I love spending time with my children, and I don't want my children, whether they're 15 and 5 or years from now, seeing me in the hospital. I don't want to wake up every day. The pills that I take and the vitamins that I take are vitamins and natural things. Sea moss, moringa, elderberry. Those are the pills that my son and my daughter see me take. Allergy and histamine. I don't take things that for doctors prescribe, and that's a whole nother story about doctors prescribing me things in the past of things that has helped and not helped, and we're gonna get on that on another podcast, because if you know me, you know I am allergic to pretty much everything under the sun. Okay, but that's a whole nother day, a whole nother thing. That's also another reason why, through trial error of doctors with my history, nobody else's, my history of trial and error of doctors undiagnosing, misdiagnosing, not discovering things that has happened to me. This always been my story. I don't know why. God just planted this way, but I only could take natural things to help me heal from the inside out. I could only take natural things that helped my body. So I technically probably couldn't take a doctor's prescribed something if they told me that I had some. I would literally have to do the education to reverse it and do the education to how to heal it naturally. That's just my body. We all are made up of what God put in us, and naturally we supposed to be up of this earth. So our bodies, we all know, if you don't know, your body is a natural healer. It's supposed to actually heal itself, okay? And so that's why you have the white and the red blood cells. They fight because they supposed to go back into the natural healing state. I'm not educating you today, but do the research, okay? And when those things, bacteria and things we are eating and things we are putting in, I'm not saying I don't eat all bad things. I mean, all good things. But you have to counteract certain things. I mostly eat, 85% of what I eat is healthy, okay? You will see me every blue moon eat something that's unhealthy. Every blue moon. I stopped frying stuff years ago. I have an air fryer, but I stopped frying stuff in oil years ago. That's every blue moon. You may see me fry some fish. I might fry some fish for my kids because they like fried fish or whatever more than baked fish. But if I have to put it in air fryer is so much healthier. So at the same time, I stopped doing a lot of fried foods. I stopped a lot of things that made me know that this is determination that I have to do the research. I even cook different. I thought I was cooking healthy years ago. I started doing more research and start cooking healthier now. There are certain things that we think that's healthy that if we overconsume it and do anything too much, it's not healthy. But there are certain things that I did the research that I know that I have to change. I even want my kids to see what I'm doing and see that eventually, like my son, his body, he gonna start have to watching what he eats because of genetics. That's another thing we gotta consider, guys. Genetics. Genetics on his father's side, he might have the likelihood of being obese. I don't have the obese part in my side, but at the same time, I have diabetes on my side. I have blood pressure on my genetic side. Okay? Genetics play a part. So if you know genetically your family has these things, do the research too on that. That's why the doctors ask you, is there a serious high blood pressure? They ask you that because they want to know. You thinking about what your mama and your grandmama and your brother and sisters got to do with your health when you go to the doctor? A lot. Because if you're watching them go through something, that you all have it. If you all have the same thing, you have to do the things to prevent it. One thing I always tell tell people about my son's father. My son's father was very big when we started dating. And a lot of people that see him now would not believe it. When we got together, we started talking about health. We started talking about a lot of things. He started getting into the gym. He started working out. This man is small now. Okay, you would not believe it. It's a transformation. But he knew, like I just said with my son's father, sad. He knew that obesity runs in his family and it's on his side. And he looked at the things that he needed to start doing. And till this day, this man he stayed the size that he is. He didn't have any surgery. He did a mindset inside and out. Now, I'm not against any surgery at all, because I know some amazing people in my life that had the surgery and they're still small, and they are. If that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. But if you can't do that and you can afford to do that, do it the natural way. But even if you have a surgery, you still got to set your mind to still continue to do the exercise, continue to do the work, continue to not eat what you used to eat, continue to do the work on your body to not go back to that. A lot of people don't think about that, but they do. It's still work you have to do in the process you have to do to not be obese or big or whatever the situation is. Let's not just talk about bigger people. I know there are smaller people, skinnier people, that it's unhealthy. Health has to do with your mindset. Let's start there. Not your weight all the time. You could be unhealthy mentally. Also, and then that contributes to physically. Whatever we put in our bodies, whatever we absorb, whatever we think, whatever we hear. That's why I have my son listen to podcasts every morning. I'll have him listen to motivational stuff before he goes to school. It's a purpose for that. Not because I just want to listen to it, because it's whatever he puts in will come out. So if you put negative in, negative gonna come out. You put positivity in, positivity gonna come out. No, you're not gonna walk around happy all the time. I don't. Ask my kids, okay? But you have to try your best to have the discipline to be who you want to be and who you see yourself to be, especially in this new year. When we write vision boards and goals, I explain to my son, it's about what you want to attain. What do you see yourself? What do you want to do in this next year? That's what it's about. And every time you wake up and you look at that vision board, that's what you do. Or that's what you attain. Or that's what you push toward. You have to have some vision stepping out of the bed, because at the same time, God got us here for a purpose. I said this many times on this podcast. Do not live your life in vain. Do not live your life in a void. Do not let strongholds of the mind and your enemy talk to you negatively. Do not just live this life where I can eat whatever I want to eat and it's not going to affect me, because one day it will. Just because you're a teenager, you may be listening to a podcast and this teenager, you got to start now. That don't mean you have to be so health conscious about everything, but you do have to be aware of what you're putting in your body. Just as much as bad you got to put in your body, you got to triple that with good. If you're eating chips and all the other stuff and all the things that's not healthy for you, you have to counteract that with fruits and vegetables. My son knows also that I make him eat. And, I say make because at the same time, these kids not going to eat no fruits and vegetables while they're eating their breakfast. He got to eat an apple or orange every morning, or banana, whatever I have, every morning with his breakfast. That's because it counteracts the bad. It counteracts that it actually is contributed to having discipline on what he needs to do for his personal goals and his body. So if he's starting now, then as an adult, he knows what he has to do. He watches me juice. He watches me smooth. My daughter watches me do smoothies. They watch me. I actually incorporate them helping me cook. I do that on purpose because it's a purpose for them learning what they need to put in and out their bodies. Just because they're young don't mean they can't learn. So if you have kids and you listen to this podcast, please incorporate your kids in your health decisions. Trust me. It is an amazing feeling. But at the same time, you're teaching them to take care of their health, take care of their body. My son watched me get up in the morning and work out. That's another thing I want to talk about, but we're going to talk about that next week. Start with what you're going to do with you, your inner body. It starts from the inside out. Your health starts with you. Your determination on getting your mind together on to be more health conscious. You don't have to be a health guru. You don't have to go and be a nutritionist. You don't have to go and change your whole aspect of, because a lot of things that people do, cold turkey, just like, I'm going to do. They end up in 6 months going back to what it was. Then they're bigger than what they was before. Because they just went crazy. Not recommending that, because I've never done that. I went cold turkey with the meat, the chicken, and the pork. Yes, because it didn't agree with my body, and I haven't been back to it yet. And it does my body amazing. But all the other things that I'm doing, all the other things I'm incorporating in cold turkey, I'm doing research. I exercise. I find out what I can eat. What works in the morning, what works in the afternoon, what foods I'm supposed to eat at night, when you're supposed to stop eating. Yes, you're supposed to stop eating at a certain time. That's another thing we're going to talk about. When I talked about certain fasting times, that's different from spiritual fast. A lot of people don't know that. You're supposed to stop eating at a certain time. You're supposed to have a certain amount of fluids in your body throughout the day. I did not like drinking water years ago. And all this working out, this is what one of my stories too. All this working out, telling you I did and everything else, I couldn't stand drinking water. I was drinking it, but not as much as I was supposed to. It came up to the 2 years ago almost 2 years ago, when I decided to not eat chicken and anything anymore. I wanted to change my weight because I was not happy with my weight. And I started doing the J.J. Smith detox fast diet, whatever you want to call it. And I've been still on it. It's because it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And she incorporated water a lot. And I was just like, man, I got to drink a lot of water. This is when I was watching what water I was drinking. When you get the little jug and it'd be like, you drink this throughout the day and stuff like that. Now, I don't even buy nothing but water. 2 years later, all I drink is water. You can't stop me from drinking water. My body knows when I don't have enough water. It counteracts and shows me. It tells me now that, you ain't had no water today. I was at work the other day dehydrated because I was just drinking coffee all day. I had to work and I'm just like, oh my God, my head is hurting. Okay, what is going on? Because I had coffee for the last 6 hours. That is not healthy. I love coffee that much. See, you see why I'm fasting. But I had to realize I had to go back there and drink some water. And drink and keep on drinking it. And keep on drinking it. And keep on drinking it. All the rest of that night when I got home, I couldn't drink. I just kept drinking water. My body was just like, you need water. Listen to your body, guys. It will talk to you. It will tell you what you need. And that is the end of this podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. It's more in depth, but this is more of an educational podcast for you guys, because I want you to understand and know that your inner body will speak to you, and your health have to be important to you. Until next time, I will see you guys next week. Please 5-star rate it. Look for the YouTube clippings, reviews. I'm still working on that. And I thank you for listening. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Breakthrough Podcast. To learn more about Reba Hobbs, please visit Instagram and Facebook at The Breakthrough Coach Online, and also youtube.com at The Breakthrough Podcast. You can also visit www.rebabell.com for breakthrough coaching or merchandise. Also, please visit and join the Facebook community support at facebook.com/domestic survivors only. Tune in next time for another episode of the Breakthrough Podcast with Reba Hobbs. Thank you for joining us.